Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week here on STV. The main talking points on our extended programme tonight. Alan Archibald is preparing his side for their hardest game in the league this season. Elsewhere, we'll find out what Mark Warburton thinks of Ian Cathrow's appointment at Heart of Midlothian. We ask the question, can St Johnstone make a real challenge for second place in the Premiership? And I wonder if you can guess how many Russian athletes have been implicated in the state doping scandal. We'll discuss that a little later on in the programme. All in the company of Gordon Smith, and as ever on a Friday, our bookroom guest is Hugh McDonald. Delighted to have him along with us here. So first and foremost, there's a game coming up within the next hour. It's Partick Thistle against Celtic on the Friday night football, and I think Thistle will have their work cut out. This is one of those games where it's a game to nothing really. Nobody's expecting Thistle to do anything, Hugh.
Yeah, but they've done well in the last... I've watched them twice recently against Aberdeen and Rangers, who would be the level below Celtic at the moment, and I think they were unlucky not to get a point in both occasions, or you could make a case for them getting a point in both occasions. Very difficult tonight. Celtic unbeaten, as we know, in the league, really pushing on. Interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers does with his team tonight, because of course they've already played this week. But yeah, I think Alan Archibald will have hopes at least of maybe getting a point from the game.
Yeah, he's well aware, the Thistle manager, of the task facing his side tonight.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I think the form they've been in this year, they've obviously upped it a level. They've been in fine form in Europe and domestically, so no, it'll be a tough task.
OK, Gordon, I don't hold out much hope. They've lost the last 21 top-flight matches against Celtic.
Yeah, and they didn't play them already this season. I mean, most of the teams already had a match against their opposition this weekend, but that game was cancelled. And it is Thistle's game in hand. Everybody keeps looking at the table thinking, oh, Thistle have got a game in hand, but it's against Celtic at Celtic Park. And tonight, I think that I agree with you that at times they play well, Thistle. They're not the type of team you always see what comes from how they do. But I do believe that that Brendan Rodgers will use last week's game against Motherwell as a perfect example now with his players, by saying, there's what happens if you're not in your top form and you're not giving everything right from the very start. We've had to come back from 2-0 down. That could happen any week unless you're up for it. And I think he'll use that as a motivational factor in order to get his team fired up tonight, because they'll just be saying, look, let's get the points in the bag and then see how all the results go tomorrow.
I know we ask this question week in, week out, but can you see Celtic going through the entire season unbeaten, Hugh? Because they've got 3 games in hand here over Rangers in second place, albeit Aberdeen might be able to cut into it when they get their game in hand played, but they could be, in a situation where they're 17 points clear.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I mean, they're that good. I mean, and one of the things that they suggest that it's a strong possibility is when they've rested players, like they played a second string at Dingwall. I mean, literally a reserve team at Dingwall. They won 4-0. So there's a depth to the squad as well. I mean, I think the best player at the club hasn't played for the last few weeks, and I'm talking about Scott Sinclair. I think he's the best player at the club. I think he's the most influential player in the club and how they play. So they've rode that without a hiccup. But I still think it's a big ask. You look at, I've seen really dominant teams in Scotland, and even them at one day and one Saturday.
Everybody has a bad day. You're absolutely right. It's interesting. The fact is, the only game Celtic have dropped points in is the team that's now sitting bottom in the league, Inverness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why, depending who they're playing, and I felt this was a little bit like last Saturday, although Brendan Rodgers did turn it around because Celtic have improved a bit, was he got them going from 2-0 down.
Yep.
Because that was a game possibly that was on the cards that they could lose that if Motherwell had kept playing the way they were playing.
Yeah, that's why I like Hugh on a Friday, because he always says something and then you think it's gospel, and then I think, no, I like having a good ding-dong argument with him. You're just your throwaway line there about Scott Sinclair being the best player on the side.
I think he is,
Yeah, I don't. Who do you think it is, Gordon?
I think at the moment, I think there's different ones in different positions, but I like Rogic at the moment. I think
Yeah.
Peter thinks Rodgers a dud.
Is that right?
What about that to noise everyone up? No, I don't think Tom Rogic is a dud. What I think is Scott Brown's the best player on the team.
No, I think the whole way the team plays and the whole dynamic of the team was Scott Sinclair. He changed the way he played.
He was playing
changed
really
the way other teams play against him as well.
Yeah, I just think consistency.
Yeah.
You know, when he's in it at the moment,
He's certainly
injury free. He's up
He's
there.
playing well.
He's playing great. But
Not that I think my opinion is gospel either. I mean, that's what's the great thing about it.
Well,
you know?
you can't be after your Rogic statements. You just can't be taking his gospel. He's winning the League Cup. He's taking them back against Motherwell.
Yeah.
He's turning it on against Man City.
And of
He's
course,
a player.
the great thing about it is it's an old head who's trying to reel me in a fishing rod, but I'm not going for it. I'm going to switch my attention quickly before the Rogic family start phoning me to complain. From Partick Thistle against Celtic, to a game that I'm really looking forward to. It's at Ibrox. It's Rangers against Hearts. It's Mark Warburton against Ian Catherall. What a baptism of fire. Of course, Mark Warburton's been speaking about this one and what he thinks of the appointment of the 30-year-old coach.
I like to see the appointment. They like to see it. I think it's brave on his part. I think it's a brave call by Hearts. He's a young coach, but he's obviously very knowledgeable. He's demonstrated that, I'm sure, to a number of people within the game. So delighted for him. I'm pleased to see it and wish him well after the weekend.
Perfect time to wish him the best after you've beaten them at Ibrox, if that is the case. But this is a big one.
It's an interesting one. It really has come at a great time. This game being so quick because it's only 2 weeks ago. Hearts had a different manager. Hearts comfortably beat Rangers 2-0, and since then, Hearts have had the draw. They've dropped back. Obviously, Robbie Nielsen's away. A new manager's been appointed. A controversial appointment in some respects. And his first game he's got is Rangers at Ibrox, a team who basically were getting a bit of criticism as well before. So I think it's a big one tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. And I think the criticism that was coming Rangers' way was that there were 3 games where they were going to get a real test. Celtic, Aberdeen, and 2 against Hearts. So right now, I think last week, I think Mark Warburton fully deserved the right to gloat about the people that were critical of them. This is another test again, Hugh.
Last Saturday was huge for Rangers, absolutely huge. If they'd got beaten by Aberdeen last Saturday on the back of a really poor performance against Hearts, I mean, almost like a meek surrender towards Hearts, it would have been real. The claxons would have been going. They really would have. So he's got a bit of stability. But of course, all Rangers and or Celtic managers, the next crisis is only a game away. He's got to go to work. I've been amazed. I was amazed last night at question time that there wasn't a question on, the panel didn't include Chris Boyd and Ian Catherall. We could have had a real good ding-dong, because I'm amazed at the way, the controversy over this. In that, Catherall's not going to be the manager at Hearts. It's not as if he's a manager.
No, but I think there's there's a strange argument going on at the moment, Hugh. Where people who say, well, if you criticise Ian Catherall, you're not a visionary, you're not moving forward. I wish him all the best. I think the only observation that we have continually made on this is it's not about questioning whether he's a good coach or not. It's questioning whether he's able to, first of all, get the players all on side, and then results.
See, that's why it's interesting tomorrow, because what happens to you is that he'll be judged on it to a degree, and it's so harsh. Like for one game, they'll be saying if he loses tomorrow, they'll say, "Oh, Robbie Nielsen comfortably beat Rangers 2 weeks ago. Now he's losing." If he wins, they'll say, he's the right man. He's turned that around. Do you know what I mean?
But that's the real world. That's welcome to the real world, Mr. Catherall.
Well, on that basis, let's find out how he's settling in, the Hearts manager.
Good. Quite long, busy, productive. Definitely. Productive's probably one of the key bits. But quite natural as well. Again, I would be repeating the same things, but because this is the right place, and the reasons for that, there's really good staff over there. There's good people. The players are good professionals, and they've enjoyed their work. They've wanted to work, and it's been easy. It's been easy.
I don't think you'll see the real Ian Cathrow's Hearts side until beyond January, once the window closes, and even then, you'll see the true side in the summer.
Yeah, and a lot will be input from Craig Levein as well. Everybody goes in shock horror. Craig Levein might be pulling the strings. I hope he's pulling the strings. He's director of football.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, this idea we have in Scotland that the manager's sacked or the head coach's sacked and all that. No, the guy, there's a food chain the way you and I have got a food chain. You're my gaffer, I've got to kowtow to what you say every Friday.
It's more of a continental structure over there.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wonder if Ian Cathro is going to get as much back chat as I get in this one. This one from these two characters. Anyway, I haven't quite lost the dressing room just yet, but after the break we are going to get into the meat and bones of all the other games in the Premiership. We'll look at the Championship, League One and League Two, and we're also going to be talking about golf, rugby and athletics next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week Game of the Day on Saturday, undoubtedly at Ibrox, Rangers against Hearts, but there are a few other matches we'll be keeping a close eye on. You can join us on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Gordon Smith, Alan Ruff will be back with us, looking far more bronzed than any of us in this studio, and Joe Miller as well. That's 2 till 6 tomorrow. We'll bring you all the action, the interviews, reaction, and of course no shortage of opinion on the panel tomorrow from 2 on STV. Now, Aberdeen against St Johnstone. Suddenly people are looking at that interesting race, second, third and fourth. St Johnstone, are we expecting too much for Tommy Wright St Johnstone to suddenly come into that little clutch of teams?
I think we are. But I think we've expected too much of Tommy Wright St Johnstone over a period of years, and have exceeded, expectations. I reckon that, over the last 5 or 6 years, he's been the best manager in the top league by a distance. By that, I mean manage. He even sort of talks about it. He manages his resources, and I don't think they'll be anywhere near a European place. I just think that the other teams have got too big budgets for him to compete with. Yeah,
I mean, he has worked wonders. I think he'll be more than delighted, apart from results, he'll be more than delighted if he gets Danny Swanson and, of course, he's mentioned Joe Shaughnessy on new deals.
Yeah, if you can keep them a hold of them, yeah. I mean, you think back, there's a game tomorrow that it created for me the shock result of last season when Aberdeen lost 5-1 at home. To St Johnstone. No one could believe that, because Aberdeen were considered the challenge, and they were the challenge to Celtic at that time. They were the team, and it was quite early in the season. I think it was October last year.
It was,
yeah, so you're looking at it, and he's done a great job. As Hugh says, it's like resources. He's managed resources, lack of finance. I think you put the league. We've mainly been saying they're in 3 groups, which is like Celtic, then the next group was Rangers, Aberdeen, Hearts and St Johnstone. I think I would just take St Johnstone out of that and put them in their own group, really. I think they're safe. I don't think they're going to compete for one of those European spots. They're not going to be in any trouble for relegation. They're going to be top 6, but they really are just achieving what they can achieve, and I think they'll be pretty steady and stay where they are just now, Peter.
Yeah, here's the Saints boss Tommy Wright's take on this.
I think it's a difficult ask. I think if you look at it, in terms of people are asking Hearts and Aberdeen to challenge Rangers and Celtic, our resources are a lot less than Aberdeen and Hearts, but I think how we have used our resources and maximise what we have can give you an opportunity to get close to them 2 clubs, and that's what we're going to try and do. We tried it last season, and got 4th in the league, which was tremendous, and we've got to make sure that we try and do that this season again.
Okay, so Derek McInnes, Aberdeen, bouncing back is key to them. I must admit, I'm going to be brutally honest about it, I've lost faith in even looking at them in any serious manner.
Well, we had these conversations last year when I was really strong in Aberdeen's I felt underachievement. I think one of the big problems for Derek at the moment is not just the 2 bad results in Glasgow. But the manner of the performances, and then added to this hangover that Aberdeen fans will have from last season, and Ronnie Dyler's last World Tour kind of thing, saying if we don't win it now, when are we going to win it? So there's been that building up. I think we talked about Warburton, Mark Warburton needing that result last Saturday. By goodness, Derek needed that thrashing of Kilmarnock in midweek. But he's got to continue, because he's all talked about, right now we've got games we can win, we're playing at Pittodrie more regularly. He has to win again tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, the 5-1 is one thing against Kilmarnock. At home, you expected them to do something. I didn't expect it to be quite a thrashing, to be perfectly honest with you, Gordon. But quite simply, if you're banking on taking second place based on home form, you know, where Aberdeen's true test for me is on the road. That's when you can go away and start winning games against the bigger teams. That's the measure of you. Yeah,
they should be quite capable of it. I still think, for me, it's still a defensive problem they have. I still think that that they've got great attacking players. They've got players that can score goals. They've got creative players, and I think that they can win more games. And certainly, away from home is where I think they should be doing well, because when you think about it, most teams going to Pittodrie are going to play pretty tight, stop Aberdeen playing, whereas when they're away from home, they're going to hit teams that can actually defend a bit, hit teams in the counter-attack, and with the players they've got, creative, with more space in the counter-attack, you think Aberdeen would do better. I expect them to do a bit better at Ibrox last week. I thought they would put up a tighter, a closer game, as they would. I thought they might in the cup final too, but that's a big win for them, and now they've got 2 home games coming up. They've got St Johnstone tomorrow, and then their next home game is Motherwell as well. So the 3 home games in a row, they've got to try and turn things around. And with the games in hand they've got, if they do win those games, they do go into second spot. I mean, it'll be only by a point, but they'll be there in second spot, and they need to keep that form going. They've 7 league games in total this month, and they've had 2 already, and they've got 5 to go.
I just wonder if this is going to be one of those banana skins for them. They've, when you look at it, they've won just one of the last 7 league games against St Johnstone, and St Johnstone are unbeaten in the last 3 at Pittodrie.
It suggests that if there's an Aberdeen number, Tommy Wright has got it, and it's in his back pocket. I think the thing about Wright is he comes over as like this big bluff Northern Irishman, but if you ever see the way he sets out his team, I remember going to Ibrox when he was St Johnstone team came Rangers, and the way he set up the team was really, really simple, but absolutely bang on. Play O'Halloran.
Is that the 1-1-3-1?
And play McLean as a pivot.
Yeah.
And you just see yourself, this is so simple, so direct, and so precisely right. I mean, so he's obviously got something on Aberdeen. These are not coincidences.
That's
why
you're absolutely right, Hugh. That's why last week was a bit of a surprise, because I feel St Johnstone they're more comfortable away from home in terms of how they play. They won 3-0 at home last week. They'd only won 1 home game before that, but that's maybe a sign that Inverness are struggling a bit. But I felt that away from home they're good, and that's why you wouldn't write them off tomorrow going to Pittodrie.
No, absolutely not. Listen, Dundee against Ross County. I'm delighted. There's one really good bit of news. One of our Bootroom guests on a regular basis was Dundee's James McPake. He's got 1 under-20 game under his belt. It was a horrific knee injury again. He's had to work his way back. We wish him the very best. He won't be back for the game against Ross County, but delighted to see he's making a road to recovery and will be back in that Dundee team, fingers crossed, before long. As far as the game's concerned, only 1 point between the two of them, and again, you couldn't predict the form of either side. It's been a crazy season, according to Ross County boss Jim McIntyre.
I've not been surprised by any of the teams, and for 5th down the way, his campaign, to be quite honest, because it's been such a crazy league this year where everybody keeps beating each other. So, for that side of things, it's no surprise. I think before last Saturday, Dundee had won 3 out of 4, which is a great run, and lost unluckily to a late goal at Ibrox. So they were in very good form themselves, and then they go and lose to Kilmarnock, which happens. In any given day, if you're not your best, then you're going to get turned over.
Whatever you do tomorrow on the programme, Gordon, do not pick that as one of your trebles for us, or we've got no chance of winning. I mean, you couldn't second guess it.
No, predictable, very, very difficult. I mean, Dundee are a team, and all of a sudden they were in a good run again. You think they're playing well, and then they just fall away. Ross County are a team which they go on good runs. I mean, he's done it twice in his time, Jim. McIntyre, he's got them going in good runs. He saved them the first year when he came in. Last year they were a wee bit going not too well, then started a good run. You never know. I mean, I think the funny thing about him is even maybe at home, you sometimes think that, you know, they're more vulnerable at home, Ross County, as well, than they are away. Yeah. So maybe this is a game where Dundee will go. It was good to see James McPake is back. He's not playing tomorrow, because I think he'll be a strong player when he comes back for Dundee. He's a player they require. Yep.
Inverness Cali Thistle take on the Hamilton Academicals. Already we've got managers talking about it. It's a must-win game. Here's Richie Foran.
Must-win game for us. Simple as that. We need to get back to winning ways. We need to keep a clean sheet. You're up against a really strong team who hound you, who get in your face, who press really good as a team. So you're in for the battle of your lives now Saturday, but we're up for it and we're looking forward to it.
There you are. It's a must-win game, Hugh.
You know, in December, and I think he's right as well. Just simply because of where they are in the league, and they really need a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
The bottom, it's strange, you know, people keep asking you who do you think will go down, and the way it changes, you know, from week to week. I never thought Dundee would go down. I thought they, you know, when they were bottom league, I thought there's enough about them to get out. Yeah. But I'm looking at Inverness, and I think Gordon's right about the St Johnstone result. It's so emphatic. And then you're looking at Inverness as well, and you're saying, well, where are the goals going to come from as well? And I think at this point in the season, I think these are the two teams that probably will hold up the league.
It's 4 defeats in a row as well they've had, Inverness.
Yep. If you're an Inverness fan watching the programme at the moment, those stats are depressing, but you never know. Things can change tomorrow. We're going to discuss some of the other games in the Premiership. We'll also look at the fixtures in the top flight, and then we'll get into the Championship. Could Hibs entice Celtic to give them Chris Commons on loan? We'll discuss that next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Gordon Smith and Hugh McDonald are with me, Peter Martin. Ruffy will be back with us tomorrow after a break. Doesn't like to work more than 12 weeks on the trot. It just kind of strains him. He gets a lot of pressure from having a really tough opinion. It takes its toll on him, Hugh. Yeah,
he's got to have his own recovery time, especially now. And the only thing is, can you use your bus pass to go to Kuala Lumpur? How long is it taking him to go to? What's that? But good to have him back.
Yeah, it will be actually. It'll be great to have him back, and he'll be looking bronzed as well, which will be nauseating to say the least in the as we head into the middle of December. Here's a look at the fixtures that Ruffy will be looking forward to tomorrow in the Premiership. First of all, of course, Partick Thistle against Celtic tonight. It's Aberdeen, St Johnstone, Dundee, Ross County, Inverness against Hamilton. We've talked about Rangers Hearts, and that last fixture there, Motherwell against Kilmarnock. I'm not going to talk about the ongoing battle between Celtic and Motherwell, because it's becoming tedious, and at the end of the day, they can take it up again the next time they meet. It's much ado about nothing, to be perfectly honest with you. As far as Motherwell are concerned, I think the key thing we always talk about on this show, Hugh, is goal scorers. And Scott McDonald and Lou Moult have got 16 goals between them. Moult, obviously, with the most in 10. Yeah,
and I think if you're looking at what's going to happen in far as relegation, I don't think there's going to be any problems with Motherwell. I think last week's performance was excellent in many counts. I thought Stephen McManus was outstanding last week. And I thought their young players were signing up Chris Cadden, getting him, we know that if a great offer's comes in, he's away, but the contract gives him some protection, matter. But Cadden looks as if he's going to be some big, physical, powerful, fancies his bar, as we say. But Moult and McDonald up front, the 2 goals Moult scored were as good as you'll see in the Champions League. I'm not exaggerating. The first goal he scores, the run and the touch is outstanding. So I think Motherwell will be okay. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it since the start of the season, saying that is the big factor. I think the difference between ultimately them being in the bottom 2 or avoiding it is, the strikers they've got. I mean, as I said, you get Steve McManus coming into form is great as well, because that level of experience with Lasley in there as well. Yep. They've got experience too. So I think that tomorrow's a key game. Actually, this is all these games at the moment are crucial, because it's rivals that's playing each other when it's bottom 7 teams. And Motherwell, if Motherwell pick up the points tomorrow, it's been a bad week for Kilmarnock. Really, they won last Saturday, But a hammering at Aberdeen, followed by a defeat at Motherwell, and it'll be a bit of a blow for them. So this is a big game, but I think the difference between the two teams could be the goal scorers.
Well, it's funny you saying the goal scorers because they've got their own goal scorer in Koulibaly. I mean, we're now in a situation where he's on a 3-year deal. Lee Clark is adamant that he's going to be able to hold on to him, but you know, we live in strange times now. If you start scoring a run of goals, you know, every one of us in the media are saying, well, he could get the big move.
Well, you've got to be. I mean, that is it's where the big money is in football, is in goals.
Yeah.
And goal scorers, for example, goal scorers are not anonymous, because even if you read the paper and it's in the small type, you notice even a scout just reading the small text, that's Koulibaly keeps scoring in Scotland.
Yeah.
I mean, goals is, and that's why they pay the premium. That's why Dembele has been talked at 25 million already. It's why, you know, even guys like Troy Deeney are worth apparently 25 and 30 million in the EPL in England.
Look at Ibrahimovic. I mean, his age and all that. Coming to Man United, he's saying, well, can he come and play in English football? Was it last time? Was it his 12th goal this season? You know, the guys are goal scorers. It's in their DNA, and that's what. Koulibaly's been a good signing for Kilmarnock, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's have a look at the table to see how it looks at the moment before the fixtures over the weekend. Celtic out in front. That, I mean, it's pick anyone from 7 tomorrow. They could all swap places and not be within a point away from each other. It's so close, so tight there. So there's some huge games, and we will cover it all in the Premiership right through. Interestingly enough, when I look at that table there, one club, Ronnie McDonald, said that he's had no fewer than, I think, 5 offers to buy the club in the last 8 years, because they seem to have got the blueprint right. I mean, that's the one thing off the park. They've got a blueprint, they stick to it, develop their youth, sell them on.
That's right, and it's hard tack as well. It's not, they don't change it for anyone or any circumstances. Very tight and enclosed on wages, but given the players saying, yeah, you know, you're not maybe getting the best wages here, but if we get an offer, you can go. They've sold players on as well. There's a couple of there that I always wonder, I mean, why they're still there as well, because you know, the players, I think, could do a job at another level. But yeah, they've got their template and they're not going to change that anytime soon.
Yeah. Let's look at the Championship, the fixtures for tomorrow. Ayr United, Dundee United. There'll be a wee bit of needle there, I think. Ian McCall will want to put one over on his old side. Dunfermline, Morton, Falkirk, Queen of the South, Hibs against Dumbarton, and St Mirren against Wraith Rovers. So suddenly there was a confidence boosting win for St Mirren in midweek, and boy did they need it.
Yeah, because they were getting here. I honestly thought, and I still think they're in big trouble, but I honestly thought if they got beat there against Queen of the South, where Queen of the South are going through a sticky patch, you know, Gary Naismith's not got his feet under the table yet. I thought if they get beat, there's got the gap between it's now becoming almost, even in December, insuperable, you know.
Agreed, it was a must-win game for them, no doubt about it, and they must take a bit of confidence, because that was the final team to win a game in Scottish football. Every other league team in Scotland had won a match, and that was their final opportunity. And I think away from home winning it, that's why tomorrow will be a crucial game. I think if they can get a lift from that, Peter, and again, I know they're playing one of the better sides in Wraith, but if they get a big lift from that win during the week and start to win games, I agree with you, they need to start putting a run together. It's not as if they can just win the odd game now and again. They have to put a whole run together.
And the team that they're probably seeking to catch, or one of the teams will be Dumbarton, who are at Hibs tomorrow. So St Mirren fans will be saying,
you can get closer.
We might get closer tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course Hibs. I did mention this a couple of weeks ago that I thought Hibs would, you know, start sniffing around again to see if Celtic can somehow come to a deal that might get Chris Commons out either permanently or on loan. I think loan's the best option when you consider the amount of money you might be on.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's no question that Hibs could not match Celtic's the wages that Commons will be on. So the only way they can do it is if they do a deal whereby Hibs pays so much per week and the balance is still paid by Celtic, because the Celtic aren't using him anyway. I mean, he's a player sitting there earning all the money with no contribution whatsoever, and he's as well going somewhere else and playing. And I think that Commons would probably want to get out there, still stay in Scotland and play for Neil Lennon, who's played for before. So I think that could be a possibility.
I've never witnessed a season where I genuinely get the feeling that this January transfer window, although many a manager will tell you, you don't really pick up unbelievable signings, but crucially, I think with these clubs at the bottom end, and at the top end of the Championship, bottom end of the Premiership, I think some signings could be the difference for them.
Oh, I mean, you're talking about Hibs. I mean, Neil Lennon will be really wanting to strengthen. This Hibs really have to go up this season. They can't, become a perennial Championship club. They've invested heavily. I mean, they've invested in players, in Premier League players, and the likes of Brian Graham as well. I think Shinnie is is a great player as well, and he'll be on decent money. So yeah, I mean, Neil Lennon will be looking definitely to get somebody to shove him over the line. Interestingly as well, I think it'll be a really busy period for Celtic. I think Celtic will be seeking to get rid of an awful lot of players.
Yeah.
And they'll also, I think, Brendan Rodgers has been told that if he seeks to sign players in January, the money's there, and I think he will do, because this is now, with all due respect, or no respect actually, Scottish football, this is now his pre-season. From now to August, will be his pre-season for Champions League qualifiers.
Well, that might, in effect, work to Hibs' favour. We shall see. Here's a look at that Championship table, just to see how tight it is at the top. Hibs and Dundee United. Dundee United's match at Ayr United. I'm sure the Hibbies will be keeping a close eye on that as well. And then Falkirk, Morton and Wraith Rovers, all very tight there. And St Mirren, you can see the 3 points, oh so crucial, as Dumbarton, Dunfermline and, of course, Ayr United, open up a gap against them. So it was also crucial there. As far as League One is concerned, the fixtures for you for tomorrow: Airdrie, Stenhousemuir, Peterhead against Alloa, Queen's Park, Albion Rovers, Stranraer against Livingston, and Brecon City against East Fife is the 5:15 kick-off. And League Two on offer for you tomorrow. And remember, 2 o'clock we're on air. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals in all the lower divisions as well. Annan against Cowdenbeath, Edinburgh City against Stirling Albion, Elgin City against Berwick, Forfar Arbroath, and Montrose against Clyde. Must just give Edinburgh City a very special mention. League Two Manager of the Month is Gary Jardine, and Mark Laird, the Player of the Month. They've had a good season. They've started in the last couple of months to turn this around. It was a poor start.
Yeah, but I think at that level as well, that kind of thing can happen. And then once you get momentum, once you get the rhythm, once you get the partner play, things can develop.
Yep, absolutely. Well done to everyone at Edinburgh City. We celebrated their first win as if it was the Champions League. We were so desperate to see them get a win. They've managed to do that and then just build on it. So well done to Gary Jardine and all the boys. After the break, we're going to talk about doping on a national stage, and Russia come to mind. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Gordon Smith and Hugh McDonald are with me. This could be the most difficult part of the programme in sport, because we're going down a road which I think is an element of the sport of football and elsewhere, sport in general, being tarnished. I want to get your thoughts, lads. First of all, the statistic that's come out today, apparently 83 potential suspects from 98 clubs being investigated in this the inquiry that's ongoing at the moment in child abuse in football. Gordon, I know you've been talking extensively about it in the last 24 hours. Football is now trying to, be open, transparent, try and, get people who are found guilty taken to task.
Yeah.
I think it will spread to other sports as well. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Potentially it could, there's no doubt about it, and not just out sport and the other situations, but I think it's very good that this is coming to attention, because if you're going to clear something up and you're going to improve the situation, it has to be brought to people's attention exactly what was going on here. And it's shocking, as I say, there's a lot of young players out there, a lot of them are obviously adults now and growing up. I've had to deal with this and live with this for years, and which is shocking. I mean, it's really the mental problems it must have brought for these kids. The people have to be, who have been involved in it, the people who have abused the kids, have to be dealt with too and prosecuted. There's no doubt about it. They need to be charged with it. And the other aspect is to say is, why did we not know about this earlier on? There must have been people who knew that a lot of this was going on, and they need to be, and that needs to be addressed so it never happens again.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, Hugh, you can understand